Everyone, welcome to the Justus Parrotta 1988 podcast, Season 1, Episode 12. Still looking at Alice Hong's But Why? Sorry, but you're a violinist. Why do you compose? Dissertation. Today, we are now on objective number 1 of the 3 objectives of the composer-performer. This is the yellow objective, which is as follows. 1. Create material that they know how to perform themselves, and under that falls know their strengths, know their weaknesses, and limits. The first thing I noticed right away in reading into the dissertation is that on page 8, Alice Hong talks about the composer-performer and the experience of performing at the instrument, and here is what she has to say about this. So, composer performers have the tools to craft their own musical language, both through the palette of notes they compose with, as well as the colors they produce as a performer. They take into their hands the story of a composition that they want to share and have the choice of how it is delivered as the performer. With all of these intricate details in their control, only the composer-performer themselves can provide this unique experience. Wow. Wow. So the details are in control. They know what to do. They know the timing. They know the duration. And only the composer-performer themselves can provide this unique experience. So here's some composer-performers she lists, which are Mozart, Mendelssohn, Shostakovich, and Chopin, which all make sense. Chopin, especially since his output is mostly piano music. The next composer that I will discuss is Norbert Palais. He is a Polish-born composer, and when he was back in Poland, he was a little bit more experimental with writing solo music for himself when he was starting out, and a little bit too virtuosic. However, that can be a little dangerous to do sometimes when you're first starting out. And this particular quote is from him, and I'd like to read it. It is on page 59 up. Fair warning with what I'm about to say in here. Very fair warning with what I'm about to say. Some of his pieces he wrote in his early years were so damn difficult, I was, in many cases, just too lazy to even learn them. Yeah, he said that. Yeah. It's true sometimes when you start out. That is probably the most accurate quote I've heard about trying to write difficult music for yourself. The next one is from Jessie Montgomery. This is on pages 99 through 100. This quote states, Miss Montgomery strongly believes that music is a physical form of art, that composers should be physically created. Miss Montgomery strongly believes that music is a physical form of art that should be physically created and physically reacted to. Okay, know their strengths, know their weaknesses, know their limits, know what they can perform, and is physically within their realm. This is something I've learned studying from Dr. Barbara Lister-Sink. This advocates the notion that composers should have facility in at least one instrument and be able to make music physically in order to communicate through music. Without this performance background, their music comes from a purely cerebral point of view. Wow, this dissertation that Alice Hong wrote is a complete goldmine of the defense of the composer-performer. And on top of that, she even discusses it from a semi-neurological, pedagogical perspective in terms of knowing with what is possible as a musician. Knowing what's possible as a musician and knowing your physical limits. And this could have been said about Pelé, with him saying that he wrote stuff for himself that was too damn difficult to physically perform because he hadn't downloaded the patterns to automaticity. Wow. Wow. Absolutely wow. This is a legitimate question that I'm going to ask. The first thing is, okay, so we have instrumental writers. Do we have vocalists who write for each other? Do we have dancers who write for themselves? Do we have vocalists who write for themselves? That's what I previously meant to say. Do we have people who write vocal music to perform by themselves? And do we have dancers who write solos for this themselves to perform? I mean, I just gotta say this. I studied piano for plus 10 years, at least. I studied organ for 10 years. I studied voice, I'm trying to think, 97 to 2003 years, so 2007, 7 years. I studied ballet 5 years, and I'm just floored by the Jessie Montgomery quote saying that music is a physical form of art that should be physically created and physically reacted to. Wow. Wow. Thank you, and see you in the next episode.